Hello and welcome to Off the Press on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. I'm hoping you are having a good morning. All right, we will start with the Daily Sun newspaper this morning. But before we do that, I have guests with me in the studio. I have Obinna Igwebuike. He is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. Good morning.
And of course, Raymond Nkannebe makes his entrance, a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, we start with the Daily Sun newspaper. Aftermath of election shift, Buhari spits fire, that's the screamer, orders military police to deal with ballot box snatchers, thugs. PDP directive call for jungle justice. INEC OK's resumption of campaign. You find details on page 6 and 11. There was a whole lot of noise about his choice of words yesterday. We'll move on now to the top right-hand corner of the paper, just beside the masthead. Expert split polls shift loss at 300 billion naira. We come down on the front page at the bottom. We have how IPOB leader Kanu caused many Igbo not to have PVCs. That's pro-Biafra group. Atiku goes to court, demands orders stopping government security agencies from interfering with polls. Ipman crashes petrol prices to 114 naira per litre. And Nigeria heading for constitution crisis. That's according to someone named Dixon. Who is that? Go find out on page 43. On the flip side of the paper, Daily Sun, we have insights, day of history, drama, and national shame. You get an idea what the write-up is about when you see the picture of Mahmoud Yakubu on the back page. But let's focus on what's on the front page of the paper, and I have my guests with me. Starting with Obinna, which of these headlines got your attention?
I mean, obviously, the president's directive, and my analysis of it is quite simple. The legality or the illegality or the rightness or the wrongness of it is on the one hand. Now, on the other hand, if you go on Saturday or during the state elections and you snatch ballot boxes, the truth is the president has said that you should be summarily dealt with. I think it's a very, very grievous thing to snatch ballot boxes. I mean, people travel kilometers, people pay thousands to go to places to vote, and then after that, some, element comes out from nowhere and denies them the rights they've worked so hard to exercise. I think that is very, very grievous. And whatever the rightness or wrongness of what the president said, truth is, if you snatch ballot boxes, there will be consequences. Now, if the president,
should the consequences be your life?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, we can argue the rightness or wrongness of that, right? The point is, he has said this. Don't be an example. Don't let history use you as the example to judge when the president gave an order that was wrong or that was right. Just go out there, vote, and vote in peace. Don't come out to steal ballot boxes, because whatever we agree on in terms of rightness or wrongness, it might be after the fact, after whatever has been done to you would have been done to you. So just avoid it completely. The other argument is the legality or the illegality. That I'm sure will continue for the next couple of weeks.
Just quickly, your thoughts on that before we move on to other headlines.
Okay, well, for me, I have issues with the tone, with the language, and the mien on the face of the president when he said that. To a great extent, it tends to give away his base sentiment. As a president who is really said to do anything to win this push. I mean, the Electoral Act has provided the punishment for offenders who snatch ballot boxes. I think the law should be allowed to run its course. And it is not a capital offense in any event to warrant death. Okay,
aside that, we have IPOB leader causing many Igbos not to have PVCs and the crashing of the oil price of petrol.
Well, I mean, I think Ipman is being conscientious here. People are going to travel. Obviously, that will take its toll on their financial state. The question is, will this mechanism trickle down? So are the transporters going to reduce fares or at least not increase fares? That, I think, is what will be critical, because people don't go to Ipman to buy petrol. People go to Ipman members, who have retail stations to buy petrol. And those who travel by public transport actually don't buy the petrol. They pay the transporters who buy the petrol. So we need to ensure that this mechanism trickles down through the transporters. I think that's very critical.
Which other headline?
Let me react to INEC, okay, resumption of campaigns. Okay, the last time I was here, I actually expressed the view that after the press briefing last Saturday, when the INEC chairman closed the lead on campaign, I thought it was wrong for him to have done that, being that the Electoral Act has provided when campaigns should close. It is a function of law and not an administrative issue. But I guess the INEC chairman on that day, being that he was on so much pressure, and he must have reached that decision without giving a global consideration. But after yesterday's meeting, we saw that it came out to continuation of campaigns until Thursday, 21st of.
Now, some said maybe he was under very
tense
circumstances. Maybe he wasn't thinking absolutely well when he made. Yes. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the Nation newspaper now. The front page screamer is revealed. PDP's $3 million per state cash for vote plot has a rider as INEC chief named in deal. Peace panel member romances opposition party, denies claim. It is the season of politics. At the top mass of the paper, we have 4 NDLEA officers killed in Ondo attack. Dixon 6 cancel of state meeting. That's something for you on the front page, right there on your screen. And then there are some stories on the other side of the paper at the top mass. We move to the bottom now. There are pictures, police and parading. 63 suspects during parade by police in Akwa Ibom State. We know there's been some violence there. We also have 63 suspects held, 31 stolen INEC card readers recovered in Rivers State. Buhari wants ballot box snatchers. We've taken that one before. Let's look at the back page of the Nation newspaper to find what's there. What are they talking about today on comment and debate section? We have Amosu's treasonable mischief and other stories. Before we crucify INEC boss, it's a piece I'm sure you might want to read. He is under a lot of criticism at the moment, and the hardball piece is also there, Odinkalu's misjive. All right, back to the front page. This time I'll start with Raymond. Which of the headline would you want to talk about?
Let's react to the screamer. Revealed PDP's $3 million per state cash for vote plot. I am not a member of the PDP, but I believe the statement is way too political. As you said, this is the season of politics, counter allegations here and there flying, and people are being misled. But I don't see the substance in the story. It's just another political statement trying to put some shake the camp of the PDP, and you've seen the party coming to react and say that they're denying such claims.
APC on one hand is accusing INEC of colluding with PDP. PDP, on the other hand, is accusing INEC of colluding with the APC. It's really amusing to me.
I should think that the PDP should be the ones who should be saying what the APC has been saying all along, that PDP is colluding with INEC. I mean, they are the ones in power, and if for anything, it is the APC that should collude with INEC, and not the opposition party colluding with INEC.
All right. Which other headlines do you want to talk about? We have some other.
I mean, a few weeks ago I was here and I talked about how Nigeria needs to very carefully look into the drug trade business, and the reason for that is simple. I mean, Trump is harassing, drug peddlers in the southern border. The truth is, a market is a market. There's supply. Supply will always look for demand somewhere. So, again, we see here 4 NDLE officers killed in Ondo attack. Now, I'm not saying that this is particularly related to what is going on in the US, but I just think that seeing what is going on there those people will look for other markets for their products. We need to be very careful as a country. Yeah. So from the NDLA to customs to immigration to the police, the army, it is something we need to look into very, very, very carefully.
Now, there seem to be some gains here on the nation. So customs generates 117.7 billion naira only in January. I won't put only, just sort of make you want to think of what are you talking about, only. All right, we move on to the Vanguard newspaper now. The screamer on the front page is still on ballot box snatchers. I think we've dealt with that extensively. Let's just look at the riders on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Afenifere Ohaneze, Junaid Mohammed, others, lawyers rather, react. Buhari showing his true colors with death threat Atiku. That's some riders, the way the Vanguard is capturing that discussion this morning. We switch to the top mast. Let's look at what is there. You will see INEC reverses self, lifts ban on campaign. And then you also have election shift. We were treated as slaves. NYSC members, we've taken the one on NDLEA. The way the Vanguard is putting it this morning is that drug lords kill 4 NDLEA officials in Ondo. Investors lose 195 billion naira in one day. That's according to the paper. Details of that story is on page 17. We'll come down to the bottom of the paper now, where we see my appointment. Okupe deserves award in fiction writing. That's Lai Mohammed speaking. If you want to get the intricacies of that story, head to your stands and pick up the paper. I'm also still my governor. Vote for him. Osoba begs Ogu people, a bit of campaigning there. Okay, we have some of the headlines on the front page. Let's see. Of course, the back of the paper is sports. We'll leave that for a little later. We will come to you, Obinna. What would you like? We've treated this already. Investors losing this amount in one day.
Well, I mean, it's the truth is the market thrives on sentiment. You know, it was only expected. I don't think we would have had a capital market that was bullish after election postponement. So, I mean, for those of us in business, we know how the economic cycle is very tied to the political cycle. A lot of businesses are not making investments right now. I mean, they're waiting till the election to see what kind of government we'll have. And the more we postpone this, the more we postpone capital investments that are needed for the stock market to actually gain traction. So it was, although it's something I think will even out if other things remain equal. So if we have successful and peaceful polls, and we have a very well articulated economic policy, I think these losses will even out.
All right, let's see if we can rush through these papers. We'll just take 2 of them at the same time. This Day and the New Telegraph. We'll look at the headlines here. Ballot box snatching is all over the front page. Let's see how the New Telegraph is capturing this morning. It says, deal ruthlessly with ballot box snatchers, Buhari tells military. Plenty of riders to that story. On this day, it has rig election at the expense of your life. Buhari wants. That's how they're capturing it. We'll move on to other stories on both papers now. On the New Telegraph, we have polls, Aero, ARIC slash fares to encourage voters. It has 2 riders. Marketers reduce petrol price to 140 naira per litre. NURTW to subsidize transportation. Citizens pitching in to help the situation. Find details on page 6. And at the very bottom of the paper, I'm still talking about the New Telegraph. We have a Boeing. PDP APC trade blame as thugs burn 30 houses. It has a rider. Bandits attack 17 Niger communities, kill 5, abduct 35. Let's see. Parents might find this very faintly printed headline here interesting. It says, pumped breast milk may cause asthma for babies. That's a new study. Our parents should go take a look at that one. There are some things, and Nimasa, let's go back to the top of the paper now. Please, let's do that, top of the paper. All right, there you have it. You have Nimasa paid me 138.5 million naira for doing nothing. That's witness speaking. Ondo, we've taken that one. Gunmen killing 4. Post-shift, Dixon warns against constitutional crisis. We now know the Dixon that's talking is the Bayelsa State Governor. Our comes to pressure, lifts ban on campaign. Okay, a quick flip to the back page of the New Telegraph. We will see APC and the failed Osun Magic election. That's it on the back page. We move now back to this day newspaper. Stock market sheds 169 billion naira over deferment of polls. We've also captured that one before. We see this one. INEC concedes to political parties, allow electioneering. That's how it's putting it. Bandits kill army captain, 11 civilians in Katsina, Niger. Interesting. At the very back page of this day newspaper, we have INEC, the election postponement challenge. It's coming from Ruben Abati. His name is quite familiar in the media scene. You might want to read up what his thoughts are this morning. Back to a guest in the studio, Raymond. I mean, let me just allow you to pick.
Well, let me react to. Let me comment Ero and Arik for that gesture. And after what happened last Saturday, most Nigerians who can be pretty emotional, their morale must have been dampened. But this gesture coming from Ero and Arik to an extent will kind of motivate Nigerians to want to actually make those trips this weekend so that they can go out there to cast their ballot in order to avoid any case of low voters turnout at the polls next Saturday.
All right.
I mean, the story from Ebonyi where PDP and APC trade blames as thugs burned 30 houses. My summary about this is, look, the two people contesting, the two main candidates contesting today, 4 years ago were in the same party. In 4 years' time, you will be shocked that for some reason,
yes,
both of them will probably be in the same party. Now, those of us who are building enemies because of the two parties, I mean, this is irreversible. You've burnt 30 houses, you've burnt 30 houses.
Yes.
You've killed people, you've killed people.
Yes.
Let us not mortgage the future. That is very, very uncertain in political terms for this election. Look, it's going to come and it's going to go. That's the truth. So there's really no point going this far, because if you look at it, politicians, I mean, there are really just two classes in Nigeria, the political class and the rest of us. So if we take their enemies, yes, we end up turning them to our enemies. It just doesn't make sense.
All right, move on to the Punch newspaper quickly. I'm told we have very limited time. The Punch outrage, as Buhari says, death awaits ballot box snatchers. We've talked about that. Let's see this one. Police recover stolen PVCs, parade 63 suspects in Akwa. And then we have only 12% of workers contributing to pension scheme. That's Pencom speaking. Gunmen kill 4, taking that. PIB's fate uncertain as elections take center stage. Details of that story is on page 27. At the very top of the paper, that's the Punch newspaper. Let's see a quick flip. There you have it. PDP holds emergency NEC meeting over polls today. INEC bows to pressure as parties to resume campaigns. Some resident electoral commissioners have been compromised. Oshomole alleges, that's the APC national chairman. Polls delay, stock investors suffer 196 billion losses amid sell-offs. That's something you will find re-echoed on the Punch newspaper. And on the back of it, you have postponement theories and permutations. That sad incident, we just hope no one died in it. If you look at the back page at the very bottom, hoping you can see that. At the bottom of the Punch newspaper back page, you will see the picture of an accident, a vehicle crushed. Let's just hope no one died. Let me take your thoughts quickly. You have like 30 seconds to share your thoughts.
Okay, let me just react to PDP scheduled emergency NEC meeting today. After APC had theirs yesterday, I'm sure the party will want to go out there to re-strategize for the Saturday polls. And we hope that after the deliberation, they'll come out with resolutions that will be in the global interest of the country.
And you?
I mean, I'll react to the PIB. Look, this is a cycle we've been on, if I remember, for the last 9 or 10 years. You know, as far as I know, I think there is a PIGB, a Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, that is waiting for the president's assent. Look, I mean, I read, I think it was this morning, that the investment in the oil and gas industry is currently on a 3-year low. I think it was something like 113 million or something like that.
Okay.
This has to be dealt with. I mean, we will not have investments in the oil and gas industry, which is still the most important industry in Nigeria. We can say all we like about agriculture, and it's great. But you see, this is what gives us a lot of our foreign exchange. This is what gives us a lot of our revenue as a country. We need to deal with this, because if we start another 4-year cycle and whoever is the next president doesn't deal with this, we will start all over again with a new, a new legislative assembly. So whatever it is, whatever has to be done between this election and May 29th, I would really encourage the president to make some progress on the PIGB so that we don't start again after May 29th.
All right.
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you, gentlemen. Raymond, Nkannebe, legal practitioner, thank you very much. Obinna, Igwebuike, public affairs analyst, thank you very much. We will be back with the sports segment of the After Press this morning. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We are back for sports. Udoka Njoko joins us for this conversation. We just have one paper here. That's the Complete Sports. Just take a look at what's making the pages this morning. Igodalo, I was too expensive for Euro clubs. That's one. Junior Ajayi extends, how do you call this? Ali deal.
Ali deal, yeah.
Yeah, we also have Bring on Saleh. That's another one. Chelsea 0-2 Man United. United knocks out Chelsea. Pogba inspires Red Devils to a comfortable win to progress in FA Cup. Let's start with you, Udoka. Which of these headlines is the
major
biggest
one,
this
when
morning?
it comes to international, the major one has to be the one that concerns Chelsea against Manchester United. They got knocked out in the FA Cup, and it puts more pressure on Maurizio Sarri if he'll be losing his job. Most of the Chelsea fans and Manchester United fans got chanting that he'll be sacked this morning, but nothing has been said. And another twist to that is the fact that Zinedine Zidane is on standby to take his job. But he has said if he will be coach of Chelsea, he needs a £200 million transfer kitty if he's going to spend money to get in players for the club. But let's keep our fingers crossed on developments at the club. And for Salah, bring on Salah and Mane. The Bayern Munich fans are chanting, saying that they want to see Salah because the Champions League goes down today at Anfield, Liverpool versus Bayern Munich. So it will be going down by 9 p.m. Liverpool hoping to get that result against Bayern Munich later today in the Champions League.
All right, Njoko, let's just get your quick thoughts on any of these headlines.
Iheanacho touted Leicester's next £20 million plus flop. That's just, I mean, that's
I think it's an embarrassment.
It's heartbreaking. And we hope that he fights his way back into the team, scores goals, or he gets another club where he can do just that.
I'm afraid we don't have much time. That's all we can take for this part of the paper. Thank you so much for coming in, gentlemen. Thank you, Udoka, and thank you, Obinna. That's a wrap for this morning off the press. We're back again tomorrow morning. Stay with us.